Well, howdy there, Internet people. It's Belle again. So today, we're going to talk about Russia, nukes, and oops. A development in Russia is getting a lot of attention, and it carries a lot of implications on the foreign policy scene. But the sensational nature of the reporting is going to cause a lot of people to miss out on what's really important. So, we're going to go over what happened, why it matters, and why most coverage is focused on the wrong thing. Okay, so what happened? A giant oopsie. It appears that a Russian Sarmat missile suffered what can only be described as a catastrophic failure during a test. It looks like it was supposed to be a test launch. It never got to the launch part. Imagery of the test site indicates that it never made it out of the silo. The crater and damage in the imagery tells analysts that the missile detonated inside the silo, not just failing the test, but also destroying the test site. The primary focus of the coverage was the failure of a missile that could carry nuclear weapons. Of course, this plays into the nuclear sensationalism dealing with Russia. But that's not really what's interesting about it. What matters is that the Sarmat, which was nicknamed Satan II, failed again. This isn't a relic system left over from the Cold War. The strategic ICBM was announced back in 2014 and was supposed to be in service by 2020. As early as 2015, everybody knew that schedule was going to be missed and that the system was going to hit significant delays. They got a prototype of the system up and running in 2017, but we're still nowhere near actually fielding it or delivering on the promised 20 regiments that were supposed to be using it. In May of 2022, Russia said that 50 of the missiles would soon be operational. Then there were some issues. But in September of last year, Russia announced the system was finally deployed. A lot of Western analysts were skeptical of the deployment and were certain that even if it had been deployed, it shouldn't have been. When it comes to testing, this latest failure brings the system to an 80% failure rate. When you're talking about strategic arms, an 80% failure rate is not acceptable in any way, shape, or form. These are supposed to be no-fail systems. This is especially true if the country has a habit of nuclear saber rattling, as Russia does. Just last week, Russia threatened the EU Parliament after a vote concerning Ukraine. A Russian official said, quote, "For your information, the flight time of the Sarmat missile to Strasbourg is 3 minutes 20 seconds. This test was probably intended to punctuate that threat. The failure is an international embarrassment, for sure, but that isn't what's important. Russia wants to be seen as a superpower, or at least a near peer. However, their conventional military strength is withering in Ukraine, and the country having to rely on Iran and North Korea for weapons and ammo is undermining Russia's desired image. At this point, the only reason Russia is viewed as a possible near peer is because of their strategic arsenal. An arsenal that is now suffering an 80% failure rate. Putin has now created a situation where Russia is being viewed as weaker and weaker. Russia is no longer sitting at the superpower table with the US and China. If its successive failures continue, it'll be booted off the major power table as well. If Putin's leadership continues to take Russia down its current path, it'll be viewed as a powerful ally of China soon, rather than a power unto itself. That's why this failure matters. Not because of some imagery from the movie Threads or The Day After, locked away in our collective subconscious. It's because it might signal a major shift in how the world views Russia. China might sense an opportunity and begin to more actively exert itself in areas that were seen as Russia's areas of influence. As the saying goes, may you live in interesting times. Anyway, it's just a thought. Y'all have a good day.